Guys, let's transition to another hot button issue, another question that we get from um, fans and from people out on the Twitter sphere. Again, I put out another graphic kind of labeling the top 10 hottest seats around the country. So, Trey, I'll kick this one to you first. Who is the first coach to get a pink slip this season? Not whose seat is the hottest, but who is the first coach to actually be told we need to see you in the principal's office?
Well, I think there's two different ways you could take this. And if it's off the field scandal, just tomfoolery, I think it's Bill Belichick.
Oh,
I don't think there's any any denying that that's the most likely there. But if we're just strictly saying on the field, I'll go Mike Locksley. I think that it's a couple years overdue. I know that they kept him on one more year to keep the band together, right? The young talent that they've got there.
yep.
But if that doesn't manifest into wins this year, I think you got to cut bait and just say we can't hold out forever. I'm waiting on this young talent that may never get us even back to a bowl game. So, yeah, especially if they start to slide and have those prolonged losing streaks like they're prone to do in the back half of the schedule, I could see Mike Locksley being one of the first. But it does seem, just as a general overarching theme, it does seem like this is going to be maybe a more chill coaching carousel this year after the just absolute madhouse that we had last year.
You say that now.
I do. Yeah.
Clip that if that goes wrong, if that goes sideways. A lot of big names moved, right? It's harder to think of a James Franklin type move happening that kicks it all off. But then again, I think the overarching theme to me, like if you asked me to describe the coaching carousel last year in one world, I would honestly say irresponsible, right? So much money was thrown around, timelines just didn't seem to matter. We just had administrations pulling the trigger left and right. Some administrations didn't pull the trigger when we really thought they would. So I guess who the heck knows? Garrett, who are you pulling the trigger on?
I think if we're talking first guy to do it, I'm going to take another overreactor. This isn't as easy as last year. Last year, I could have given you probably like 6 names who I'd have said, these guys are probably gone before Halloween. And I was probably right on most of them. I think this year, though, looking at some of the trends from last year, Shane Beamer's in trouble. I think he's got to perform pretty well early and get his team going pretty well because everyone in the SEC has made their moves, right? And there's teams that have been at the top of the SEC that have been, making the playoff, and teams making playoff for the first time, and teams having success in the playoffs and everything else. Meanwhile, you have a lot of teams that did make their move, right? Like LSU making their move, Auburn made their move, Florida made their move, Kentucky made their move. Like they all made moves to kind of push their programs along, go ahead, hit reset, find somebody new. And I think that when you look at that perspective, I don't think that Shane Beamer has a very long leash, especially if, like, let's say that Auburn, Florida, Kentucky, someone like that starts performing well early, pulls a big upset, or like looks really competitive. I think a lot of people in South Carolina are going to go, okay, we got to turn it around because we're about to be at the bottom of the barrel and I can't afford to do that. So I think Shane Beamer's in a bit of a pickle right now. They got to win some games early if he wants to keep his job.
Yeah, I think a guy's going to get a spot on the YouTube thumbnail here. I'm going to go with Dave Aranda to be the first one fired. And quite honestly, guys, I mean, can anyone actually tell me how he's still employed in Waco right now? Like what is Baylor waiting for other than
they just didn't want the smoke of this last coaching cycle. I think that's the only reason.
Baylor notoriously does make good decisions with leadership. So
listen, they have had out no matter who it is in that athletic department, there have been some prickly pears.
They always move on from a guy at the right time. They never hang on to a guy a little bit too long. It's just not what they do.
Never. They never wait until somebody shows up in some court docs that might get released before saying, okay, you know what, we should. This guy might not be a good guy.
We don't need to fire Aranda. There's no scandal.
Listen, Dave Aranda is, I think, my poster child for great coordinator, terrible head coach, right? I mean, he had everything he could have wanted. He had an explosive offense. He had a defense that he finally got to craft. He was going to call the plays this last year, right? I mean, there was a reason why Shahan and I waxed poetically on the Big 12 preview about, you know what, if you squint, guys, the Baylor Bears can get to Arlington. Not even close. Not even close. They were blown off the ball. They gave up 300 yards to Jackson Arnold on QB keepers. And that kind of just defined the season, right? The offense had some pop. Defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. I don't know why Dave Aranda can look himself in the mirror and say, yeah, this is why I'm the head coach of the Baylor Bears. I think, to your point, Trey, I think it's the administration going, okay, he's a dead man walking. And now we have to figure out when it's most advantageous, I guess, because they didn't even keep the recruiting class, right? As soon
They
as
got DJ Lagway, though. They got DJ Lagway. He's going to solve all the problems.
Right. Yeah. And all the interceptions. I don't have a reason to believe in Baylor going forward this year. And it starts with the head coach. So I think, if Baylor starts losing some games early, if it starts to go sideways on the Brazos, I think Aranda is very quickly dismissed. And I think, to your point about the chaos of the coaching carousel, I think if Baylor could be the Penn State this year, maybe they try and manage it a little bit better than Penn State did. But if they have 6-7 weeks to try and figure out who's actually going to fit there, I think that's something that might be attractive to the administration there in Waco. But yeah, weird spot. Obviously, Mike Norvell is another honorable mention. The reason I didn't name him is Florida State's so in debt right now. They can't afford to pay that buyout, right? I mean, his coaching seat may be the hottest of anybody in the country, but because Florida State inked him to that massive extension, their athletic department is so overwhelmingly in the hole right now. They can't even think about paying that buyout. So they're kind of shackled to him, right? I mean, it's not even the golden handcuffs. It's like the leaky red handcuffs of death, and they're stuck, and that sucks for Florida State.
You would think so, but somebody needs to make sure to shout down into the hole that Florida State has dug themselves into and tell them to stop digging, because it wouldn't shock me necessarily to see them make that kind of a move and just say we're already at the bottom, but just keep going. The first thing you tell someone is hey, stop digging, right? You got to start moving out of the hole at some point, but you got to quit digging it. So it's I'd be interested to see if they actually do make that move, because I agree with you. It doesn't make any sense financially, but they might do it anyways.
What's the financial saying? If you owe the bank $1 million, the bank owns you. If you owe the bank $100 million, you own the bank. That's kind of where it feels like we are in Tallahassee right now.
Taking some fiscal policy to its absolute theoretical limits here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, some I don't know how close to Tallahassee Jerome Powell is, but yeah, there's some funny financial policies going on down there.